So 7 goals in the game between Bayern and Eintracht Frankfurt, the highest scoring game of the day, and so much to discuss. Shaka Hislop joining me now to do so. First up, Shaka, let's talk about that man, the Canadian Alphonso Davies. Rightfully so that so many people are talking about his future right now.
Yeah, and rightly so. Just watching that game, his transformation from his early days in Major League Soccer, playing up front and being a willing runner and taking defenders on, to becoming one of the best overlapping defenders in the world game today. Uneasy start when he first arrived in Munich, but I mean, that's so far behind him now. He's an incredible talent and establishing himself, as I say, as one of the best attacking wing backs in world football. It's been a joy to witness.
As you said, it's a meteoric rise, isn't it? And you even mentioned it yourself. So many people are saying, if he's not already among the conversation, one of the best left backs in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, he still has that natural instinct and want to take players on. He works tirelessly. You can't help but think of Alaba at the same age and the successes that he's gone on to and enjoyed in his time at Bayern Munich. And I think Alphonso Davies looks exactly like that on that left side, willing to take players on, willing to go around whoever's playing out wide, and is a fantastic deliverer of the ball from those wide areas as well, which I think he's added to his game since his arrival in Munich. Once again, he continues in this vein. He establishes himself not just in Bayern, but as one of the hottest properties in world football.
The reverse fixture of this one was a win for Eintracht Frankfurt, and obviously it was a big shock back then. That's when we saw the end of Niko Kovac. Mm-hmm. Since then, everything's changed for Bayern under Hansi Flick. Particularly, we're seeing the best of Thomas Müller once again, and that was on show in today's game.
Yeah, listen, Müller, again, very good, as you say, very involved from the get-go. And this Bayern setup under Flick certainly suits Thomas Müller. It suits everybody at Bayern Munich a whole lot better. Far more attack-minded, not as defensive, certainly don't question themselves as much as they did under Kovac. And Müller, one of those, almost for his entire career, you questioned what was his best position, what did he do? And I think you're starting to see that again. He does those indescribables. He links up in between the front man, Lewandowski, or the front three, however you want to play it, and the midfield. Floats in between spaces so well. And just his understanding and anticipation, second to none. That comes with experience. Müller continues to be a vital part of this Bayern team. And it shows. It's showing in his returns. And again, on today, showing in his goals.
He came up with that word for it. My German isn't great, but it was Ramdeuter. Somebody who invades the space-based invader. And you said it yourself there, Shaka. But you mentioned Robert Lewandowski. 27 goals for him. On a par now with Ciro Immobile in Serie A. Who's going to get that golden boot this season?
Listen, you've got to back Robert Lewandowski and just given what we've seen from Bayern and how good they've been and how they steamroller teams and how many goals they seem to score with consistency. And Lewandowski invariably is going to be involved in those. Right now, my money's on Lewandowski and always will be, it seems, for the next few years at least.
What we did see in the game, though, was a couple of goals past Bayern Munich, and they'll have to be a bit more alert in Tuesday's game because, Borussia Dortmund can punish a lot more than Eintracht Frankfurt did. Yeah,
but it came in a way that you don't normally associate with Dortmund. Frankfurt found themselves behind and rather sloppily, I thought Bayern Munich just seemed to lose a bit of concentration and then concede 2 goals from set pieces. One thing you know from Dortmund over the years, and you've seen since the league resumed, is that they're very much a counter-attacking team. They sit back, soak up pressure, haven't made very many mistakes, particularly since the league started back defensively, and they're lethal on the counter-attack. But you saw a different side to Eintracht Frankfurt and what they offered and how Bayern Munich conceded their goals. They have some work to do in the couple of days before then, just in terms of tidying that up. But right now, that doesn't send alarm bells as far as Dortmund is concerned.
Just to look at the table after Saturday's games then, and Bayern restoring that 4-point advantage at the top. Bayer Leverkusen actually continuing to climb. They're up in third, but of course, RB Leipzig will play on Sunday And then all attention will turn to Tuesday's game, Der Klassiker, Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich. Both teams going into it looking really good, despite the fact there has been that stop in play, Shaka.
Yeah, that's right. And as I mentioned, Dortmund doing as they've done so well over the last couple of years and don't seem to have missed a stride because of the break. Maybe a little bit of question marks about Bayern Munich defensively, but we've already spoken about that. I just feel as good as Bayern have been, they haven't been as dominant since the resumption. And listen, I understand the score lines suggest totally differently, but you spoke about Frankfurt getting themselves back in it. You don't want to give Dortmund that kind of an opening if you do get the lead. As we mentioned earlier, Kate, this is a do or die for Borussia Dortmund. There's no wiggle room for them, whereas Bayern maybe might shoot themselves in the foot in terms of a little bit of their own complacency. You hope that Dortmund don't do it. Whichever way, however we analyze this, however we break this down, it's going to be an incredible game by two of Europe's best teams.
What has to happen for Dortmund to get a win in this game?
They somehow have to cope with the movement of Robert Lewandowski and Thomas Müller, who continues to find those spaces in behind. If there's one Achilles heel to Borussia Dortmund, and as I mentioned earlier, it hasn't really been on show since the resumption, is defensively. They don't have the pace, I feel, to cope with teams running in behind. But they've sat deep and they've anticipated and read things well, albeit against lesser opposition than Bayern Munich. Munich will play on the front foot. They have to be very careful of Dortmund on the counter-attack. They have simply been incredible. We spoke earlier again about Guerrero and Sancho and that two-pronged midfield attack that supports so well everything that Dortmund does going forward. That for me is going to be their question, whether they can play that high line as we've seen and still cope with the pace of those two.
So you've got Jadon Sancho starting in this one?
I think he has to. And I can't explain why he was used as sparingly as he has been coming off the bench in both of the last two games, but especially how the game transforms with him on the park and how much better I think Dortmund are on the counter-attack when they have that dual focus. I think he has to play. It allows Haaland more room, more space, and better service from those coming in behind.
Haaland must be relishing the opportunity to play against Bayern and continue his brilliant goal-scoring form. To have that confidence at a young age serves a player so well, doesn't it?
It does. And in many respects, he's been almost unplayable. And I know that's a strange thing to say on the one day that he hasn't scored. But he links up so well with the midfield too that I mentioned before. He's such a incredibly lethal striker. His understanding, his anticipation, his position belies his years. And as a finisher, he's second to none. Hits the ball as cleanly as anybody you've seen. You're seeing two of Europe's best strikers at two different stages of their careers. Somehow Haaland is playing better than you would expect from a teenager and a player on the rise. And Robert Lewandowski playing a whole lot better than somebody who's in his 30s and we assume is in the wrong side of his own career. Yet both of them continue to be so lethal in front of goal and leaving defenders and managers alike scratching their heads as to how you cope with them both.
On paper, there's set to be a lot of goals in this one. It's Der Klassiker coming off on Tuesday.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.